It's the way that I get lost now in the colors of your skin, and it's how I hear the stars coming brightly, and it's how I'm falling in. It's a puzzle I can't put together. It's a song I can't quite hear. When I try too much to put it in the bottle, when I try to hold it in, and so it comes to me in ways now. If I could show you how it starts, it's the colors from your heartbeat brightly. It's when I see you in the stars. It's when I least expect it. I see beauty all around, and it overwhelms my body, don't it? Like a light without a ground. It's when I glance you from the nothing. It's from the space between the waves. Well, it brings me high like I'm needed, but it's hard to stay that way. Well, so it comes to me in ways now. If I could show you how it starts, it's the colors from your heartbeat brightly. It's when I see you in the stars. It's the way that I get lost now in the colors of your skin. It's how I hear the stars come brightly. It's how I'm falling in. It's how I'm falling in. It's how I'm falling in. It's how I'm falling in.
We're struggling. Hello, everybody. We are all, actually it's just Andrew and I. We're parked off here at Mamba Dam, looking at what might come to the very last of the water. Winter is very nearly over, but the last bits of winter are by far the worst bits of winter because all of the water is drying up. But we can see there's lots of life around here. We have a grey heron. We have a couple of vervet monkeys who are almost definitely from the same tree broke into our house and broke some of our prized possessions earlier this afternoon. And there's even a grey duiker. Surprise, surprise! So some of our more common residents around Hayes and Mamba Dam are frequenting the dam. Hello Mary, hello Carol, hello Bob, hello Christine. We have a whole group of ladies on the chat this afternoon. So nice of all of you to be joining us. Andrew and I are taking it easy here this afternoon. We've decided to embrace everything the bush has for us. So right now it's a duiker and a troop of vervet monkeys and a grey heron. All right, it's so pleasant here. I feel like I could spend the whole afternoon, but I won't. I think it's time. Oh, hello Ariana, nice of you to join us. We're starting this afternoon at Mamba Dam, but we're about to leave. We're going to go and check out what we can find. We've actually had a very productive day. So between myself, Andrew, Gareth, Vian, we've all had a very busy day. So this is actually the most exciting part of our day. It's nice and relaxed. It's nice to be out in the wild. And it's nice to know that there are things to see and find. I'm sitting in the wrong position actually. This pillow is not supposed to be behind me, it's supposed to be under me. There you go, that's way better. Okay, so was it yesterday morning? Yesterday morning we had the pride here at this. Oh look, they've messed up the Rhino Revolution camera. I hope that they got some seriously cool footage. So yesterday afternoon, I'm just going to pull forward and Andrew can show you. We were treated to a fantastic lion sighting here. It was a little bit upsetting if you're a banded mongoose fan, because one of the lionesses caught and killed the banded mongoose, and while she was doing that, it was like one of her sisters was destroying the evidence because she was hopping on the camera and pulling it off from the tree. So Andrew and I meant to come back to check on the camera, and then the drive just got busy and we lost the lions, and then we found them again, and so it was a really perfect lion drive yesterday morning on our Zoom drive. But now that we're leaving Mamba Dam and I see the camera and it looks funny and it's like ajar, and I'm thinking lions because we watch them. We know who the culprits are. All right, let's head off. We are going to use the western part of the reserve this afternoon, which is a great area for my favorite, Andrew's favorite, the leopards. But actually the reason we're going to be in the western part of the reserve this afternoon has very little to do with leopards, although that's a bonus, and everything to do with the fact that we burnt a corner, in a controlled burn, the corner of the eastern side of the property this morning. And so we don't really want to be driving through smoke and fire, because that's what we've been doing all day, and I've washed my hair twice and it still smells like smoke. So you can be very glad that there's some cyberspace between me and you, because I smell like a dirty, smoky fire. It's just one of those things. You know, Carol says she bets there was a lot of swearing when the troop of monkeys broke in. You know, thank goodness, firstly, not everyone in the house has a sailor's mouth. Just saying. Secondly, we weren't there. We were on the fire, and thank goodness, because they broke our coffee maker machine. So Gareth and I were in mourning just before we came out on drive, because that was pretty depressing. But you know, that's one of the things about being out here and living out here, is you have to understand that they make sure you realize that you are in their space. They are not in your space. So we'll have to be just a little bit more attentive about closing doors and windows, because monkeys are quick learners and they're opportunistic, and everything out here would rather steal than forage and find or kill or make its own food, because it's energy efficient to steal. And the monkeys are just being monkeys. But we did feel slightly violated, especially when your bananas have all been eaten and the bread was eaten through the packet. What else did they get to? The salt and pepper sellers, one of them is broken because they dropped that on the ground. But it's all superficial. It's quite funny. Eventually it becomes quite funny. It's not funny in the moment. Carol's saying it was a great drive yesterday, and Mary was agreeing. It was fantastic. You know, it was one of those drives where everything we thought might happen did happen. You know, we thought, oh, let's track these lions, and then we found them, and then, or they kind of found us. And then we thought, oh, they're going to make a kill, and they did. Poor little banded mongoose. And then we lost them, and we were like, well, we're just going to look for them. And then we gave up searching for them, and we found them in the last 10 minutes of drive at Lowveld. So they'd actually moved quite far from where we left them. We left them going west, and we found them in the east. So, you know, it just shows you, it doesn't matter how skillfully you think you can track and find these animals, they're always going to one-up you just by being themselves. It is a beautiful afternoon, and I can't smell any smoke in the air, which is great. Can you? Andrew can't either. It doesn't even look hazy. So, while when you're in the fire making process and fire controlling process, it's all you can think about, all you can see, all you can smell. Even when you're drinking your water, all you can taste is fire. We've moved out from that sphere, and now it's beautiful out here. We did have some rain yesterday. Not a huge amount, but it rained on and off throughout the day. And it wasn't very much rain, certainly not enough for the dams to fill or for it to make any real difference to the water table. But just pay attention as we're driving around. Although most vegetation is still... crested barbet. Are you going to stay for us, or are you going to... I don't know if we're going to get that there. There's a crested barbet that's landed in the tree next to me, but now it's a bad angle. Where would be better? No. He's gone. It was a nice try, though.
There was a rhino near to the north.
So if you are, you know, keeping an eye on the surroundings around me while we're on drive, you should notice that actually already some of the bushes have started to flush, and we are scheduled to have quite a bit of rain in the next 10 days. They say about 30 mils. Of course the lion tracks are here because this is where we lost them and then they were found yesterday. Although they were roaring not far from Haste this morning around 6 o'clock. So I might pay a little extra attention. Nobody said that they found the lions this morning. Perhaps we will find them this afternoon. Eddies have obviously been here. There's some good evidence of elephant activity. I actually wouldn't mind seeing an elephant this afternoon. Perhaps at one of the crypts. Or a rhino. I would love to see the cheetah, any of them, any of the ones on the Rietspruit, but I think with the two boys on Kaya, Bye and her cub would be our best bet. And I don't think they've been seen in a week. Have you heard of them being seen? No. So we're just gonna have to get lucky. Shall we have a quick quiz? Quiz always goes down quite well. And this is a cheeky one because we spoke about this, I've spoken about this on a drive a few drives ago. So how about this? Which tree flowers approximately 6 weeks before the first rain? Let's see if anybody can get this. There might be more than one, but there's one super well-known, famous one that everybody looks at and they go, it's flowering, which means we're going to get rain in 6 weeks. Let me know if you know in the comments. We have a... All good. Just passing a tractor driver who has a big container of water on the back. That's a Bowser for firefighting. Let's check if we have any of you. Oh! Carol was super quick on that one. It is indeed the knobthorn, Carol. The knobthorn flowers, and then within roughly 6 weeks you can expect your first rain of the season. And it always freaks people out because it always seems to flower at the end of July or the beginning of August, and then they think, oh, the rains are going to be so early. But if you track 6 weeks, it usually is pretty accurate. I've done it every year that I've been in the bush. So for about 4 years, I have noted the first knobthorn flowers I've seen, and then, I mean, you know, 4 years is not a lifetime, but I'll do it all the time, and I'm finding it pretty reliable. What week we are? No, we've had, I mean, so like yesterday's rain would count. But I haven't actually seen many flowering knobthorns on this reserve. What I have seen is leafing knobthorns. So maybe they flowered just before we arrived. It is possible because we arrived on the 12th of September. So it's possible that a few of them had flowered before then. Knobthorn flowering is actually so interesting because they get these beautiful yellow flowers, kind of look like pom-poms or Christmas ornaments. And I'm just going to check the water. It's been a nice warm day, so let's just check all the water sources. Anyway, a knobthorn's flowers, obviously a flower of a tree is its reproductive part. And so the flower is an advertisement to pollinators to be like, come and eat or drink or enjoy my flowers so that I can use you as a pollinating vector. And the knobthorn is so clever. Only 30% of the flowers produced by a knobthorn have reproductive parts. The elephants have been here today. Lots of ellie tracks.
Ocean 3 white rhino puff out of dam.
Oh, that's cool. They're quite far, but. So the ellies have been here. I'm hoping we can catch up with them. Then the crib is filled, which means that all the water is.
I would say wallowing, but it's more sitting on the hard mud.
That's so funny. They're trying to figure out, sorry, just to catch you up on the radio before we go back to knobthorns. They're just trying to figure out, one of them, so they found some rhinos at Puffadder Dam, which is very far in the northwestern corner. I mean, we can slowly start making our way in that direction, but the reality is by the time we get there, rhinos will probably have moved
Double
off.
transmission. Where's the elephant head?
One moment.
Level boarding the stop. Okay, which side of the reservoir is the west?
Okay, the eddies are not too far. I have lots of different loose ends to tie up in conversation. I feel like I've left.
South crossing. Okay, copy that. 10 for the down and head that way.
Lemon-dooring around Kudu. Let's try to get to those ellies to see if they're going to be drinking or anything. And then I'll tie up all my loose ends of conversation because I've left so many hanging open. I'll be keen to respond to the herd of elephants. I'm probably 5 to 10 out. Okay, so
Chris, final.
I didn't hear that.
Standing by.
Okay, so the knob. Okay. So the knobthorn. Hello, Mom Ruth. Gareth's just said that you've joined. Sorry, haven't seen it yet. Actually, let's go that way because we want to get to the ellies. Okay, so knobthorns actually only flower. Only 30% of their flowers that they produce have reproductive parts, which means that 60% of their flowers do not. 70% of their flowers, quick maths. And that is because they want the advertisement there for the pollinators, but it's really energy expensive to make all of them reproductive flowers. So they only select about 30% of their flowers that will have the reproductive parts, and the rest of them just work as advertisements to point pollinators towards those who do have the necessary apparatus to be able to breed and be, or not, wouldn't be breeding, but it would be pollination. And then the other thing I was telling you is that where the rhinos are, very, very northwestern corner of the reserve, is the dam up there is completely dry. So somebody asked in jest, oh, are the rhinos drinking? And somebody on the radio said, well, I would say that they're wallowing, but actually they're just lying on hard mud. So everybody's having a good laugh at the fact that we've got to that point in winter and the dry season where everything is dusty and dry. But it's easy to laugh about it now because you know that the rains are imminent. And so loose ends tied. Let's see if we can catch up with this herd of elephants.
Going on to Blauwand, I think I'm number 4. Number 5, good. Okay, copy number 5.
It is a lovely afternoon. It's a really lovely afternoon. This is the best part of our afternoon and our day. being out here. While it's actually cooler today than it has been in the last few days. I think that little bit of rain and wind that we got yesterday has just showered the landscape and taken the edge off the heat, which we're not going to complain about, because as humans it's always too hot or too cold, isn't it? I just want to have a quick look with binoculars. I'm not sure. Oh, that car's coming quickly, so whatever's on the road is going to scatter. It's Impala. I don't know why, but I thought it looked like it could be lions. Obviously it's not lions. It's cheetah. It's not cheetah either. It was Impala. But when you see something tawny in the distance, you do kind of think, oh, maybe it'll be something big and scary with big incisors and carnassial shears. I suppose the elephants are here because there's a car parked. Oh, there they are. How beautiful. Is that okay, Andrew? Now, difficult to tell, but it looks like that looks like a male, actually. A bull. I'll have to get a better read on it when I can see just a little bit more. But one of the key features we look for in the bull versus cow identification in a context like this is, besides size, because a bull could be, not fully grown, or a cow could be quite big, we look at the slant and the angle of the forehead. So that is quite a rounded forehead as opposed to a very angular one. There's some more elephants, so I think there are probably more of them here. But a cow is going to have a very angular forehead, almost to a 90-degree point on her head. And that will be because she doesn't fight using her head and tusks. If she did, that would be very inconvenient anatomy. But the males do fight using their head and tusks, and by being a little bit more smooth in their features, they don't break their own bones as easily, and they don't inflict the level of injury that a very angular head would inflict on an opponent. It's got a little bit of temporal secretion. It's getting more and more. When we got here, it wasn't quite as much as it is now. I'm looking just back from the eye and just in front of the ear at that wet patch. It's an indication of emotion. It doesn't have to be a negative or a positive emotion. Oftentimes you'll hear people tell you that it means that they're angry, but that's really not so often the case. It just means that they're experiencing emotion.
Where did you leave those two cars this morning? They were heading south on Wilderfay from that pin drop.
Let's try and get you on. I'm going to try and get onto the road. See if we can get just a little closer. There's some more ellies feeding in the background. I have a funny feeling based on the tracks that were in this area that we've definitely got more than one bull here. We might not get a good view. Hi there. Oh, are there more? In the thicket? Okay, I'm going to see if I can get a better angle on the young ones. It would be nice to see cheeky chops. Yeah, I'm going to. Good plan. It's in here, right? Further back. All right. I thought it was this. We are finding the 2 tracks so that we can go in and see if we can find the rest of this herd of elephant. Hold on. Where am I looking? Oh, is this it? Too far back to get to the elephants. They looked like other people had gone in. Let's try. Let's try. We now have 8 elephants on Rietspruit. So if all of them are here, that'd be amazing. There's this 2-track bend towards them. It kind of just goes south. So we'd have to have a little bit of luck on our side, but also we are, I found them. There they are. Good job. Oh, there it is. Can you, oh, it's hard. No, Andrew says he can't. We'll go a bit closer. Okay, they're quite alert, very aware of our presence or something. See how their heads are tilted up a little bit, trunks are stiff, they were angling their tusks a little bit towards the sky. They haven't started feeding now either, they are just waiting, listening, figuring things out. There is a big bull trailing them. And a big bull can often put a herd of ellies on edge. Oh! I'm going to go a little bit further forward. Don't want to be in his comfort zone at all, but this elephant has just pushed a tree over. I mean, that's quite cheeky. Your side there, Andrew. Interesting behavior here. The females are all, or were all surrounding Cheeky Chaps. Cheeky Chaps is big now though, so doesn't really need protecting like a small calf would, but perhaps sometimes because they've got, this is the smallest calf they have, even though Cheeky Chaps is by no means a small calf anymore, they might just all have a little bit more of a maternal instinct that they express and use on Cheeky Chaps, even though he's not that small, he's still the baby of the herd. There's the bull. Pushed a tree over and continued on. How rude. So cool to be with them. Here comes a cow. Now you can see on this female the angle of that head. Now that's what I was talking about. That's a far more angular head as opposed to the male who we saw a little bit earlier. You're right, Mary. Cheeky Chaps is getting so big. I'm going to turn around and see if we can get them. They look like they're heading directly back towards the road. So yeah, to drink. I'm hoping that they're going to go to the reservoir to have a drink. That would be quite spectacular. He just pushed that tree over and he's like, oh, actually I don't feel like eating you, I'm going to carry on. That is why elephants are considered landscape or ecosystem engineers, because they will do that. They'll flatten trees and eat a lot of vegetation, and in a reserve like this, that's exactly what we want from them. There's a lot of it's a little bit thick in here, it's a little bit of encroachment, and so it's fantastic to have elephants moving through. Obviously we've put a fire in today, but that hasn't happened in a long time on this game reserve. And elephants are, in the grander context of opening up a system, I can still see them, but it's tricky. In the grander context of opening up the system, they've only been here a very short span of time. I mean, they arrived in 2021. So 3-ish years that they've been on this reserve. They are coming here. Yeah, I love a good early bath and an early drink. We're going to position ourselves so that if they do hit this reservoir, which they should, I'm hoping that we're going to get a great view. It's very bright. Okay. I lost them maybe 30 seconds ago, but they're still, oh, there they are. They're still moving in this direction, so we could have some fun with them. Now, I last checked this reservoir on our drive yesterday, was it? Was it not that long? Was it a little bit longer ago? I checked, it was yesterday morning. I checked to see, or maybe it was Monday, how deep how much water had been drained from it. And it was, oh, they're my tracks. Thanks, Andrew. It was actually pretty empty, almost entirely empty. So I'm hoping, since they've sorted out the water pump, after these are the culprits of destroying the water pump system. Hello, cheeky chaps. Oh, it's still pretty empty. Look how low down they have to reach to get to the water. This is super cool. Yeah. Stations. The herd of elephants are now drinking from Lemondooring Reservoir.
I'll be there in about 7-8 minutes.
6. We're missing 2, but I think the bulls that we saw initially have hung back. They haven't come to the water just yet. They're very intelligent creatures, but something that they don't understand is that water pipes are best left in the ground, because otherwise even they suffer in reserves like this. In Katsi, what's that? Something's yelling at us. In the Kalahari, they also pull out water pipes, and now elephants have learned in specific areas to be more resource efficient, because they don't have like a lot of resources, especially in desert adapted elephants in those sort of landscapes. But they haven't learned that about water. When you pull a pipe up, you cut off your nose to spite your face, and an elephant knows that it can't survive without its nose. Look at that water coming out of his mouth. Oh, the bull's now hiding behind Cheeky Chops. There he is. Nice close-up on Dentine drinking. She's got to be, I guess, the one with the tusk that turns back a little bit. Is that right? Obviously, this water is not very clean. If you notice, the bull's the one that we focused on now, but he is the easiest to see. There's a lot of water that they are spitting out. So elephants are incredibly picky about the quality of their water, and if they don't like the silt or the taste, or if there's anything that is murkying and muddying the waters, they'll actually spit those mouthfuls out. So their mouth works as kind of a filtration system. I've watched elephants in the Sand River. They be within 10-15 meters of the river, looking at the river, and they dig a big hole next to the river so that water filters through the sand into a controlled little hole where they let the dust settle, and then very gently they lower their trunks in, and they get the water on top that has no sand, no silt, nothing. It's been filtered by the sand that they've dug from. Look how they're all still at the moment. It's almost as if they're listening to a message from another elephant somewhere else. Trunks, trunks, trunks. Hello, you. And now they're all drinking again. This is such a beautiful sighting. This is what we needed after our busy day. Oh, Dentine is also the feistiest of the females. Thanks, Carol. If that's a proper word. I think feistiest can be a word. I'm not scared to use feistiest. The feistiest of the females. Andrew says she's the one who pulled out the borehole, so she needs to learn some self-control.
There's 5 leadwood stations on Lowveld. Elephant sighting at Crib at the moment. I'm on my way there, and Victoria's there as well. Sorry, the Mundura. And then the tree rhino at Forfado Dam.
Look how cute that little black tip of the trunk is now that it's been wet. The trunk is the most incredible adaptation. The fact that there are more muscles in that one organ than we have in our entire body blows my mind. And the fine motor skills in the tip of that trunk as well are incredible. I don't know if you've ever seen, and I'm definitely not for captive elephants in any context where they could have been wild. But you might have seen elephants that they use, and elephants actually can paint pictures with paintbrushes, and it speaks to the fine motor skills of that trunk. I wonder if we should give them a bit of space. What do you think? Oh, it's probably okay here. She is checking us out. Yeah, we see you. I'm going to give her space. I don't want to play today. Oops. Never mind. I lost my kakoi. You've got lots of space, girl. You'll be fine. If I have to tell you, I will tell you. It's interesting how you feel with elephants. There's some days where I'm completely comfortable with them entirely surrounding the vehicle, almost touching it. And there's other days where I don't know if it's that subconsciously you can pick up on any of their vibrations. I know that that sounds very airy-fairy. Or if it's just body language and little bits of body language that I'm subconsciously registering. But some days it's like, okay, well, they can completely encircle me, and other days they get within a certain distance, and I think, I don't like you this close. But one thing I've learned out here is that your primitive gut is worth trusting. Look at that, all the leftover, all the water that's coming out of her mouth. That filtration system. So pretty. Kind of going in different directions. One's gone down the road, the other one's crossed the road and is heading north. They're not going to head very far from each other. Cheeky Chops is also getting rid of water that wasn't quite to his taste. Look at him leaning up against the female. He's here. I think what we'll do is we'll let them leave the reservoir. Look at this lady. Oh, never mind. Watch them move away from the reservoir and then make space. Everybody's quite excited to see them this afternoon. I don't blame them. It's always fun to spend an afternoon with our resident herd of elephants. I think so, Mary. I know I'm always cautious to be too, weirdo about it, but I think you do pick up the vibe from the females, and even just to think about how we watched them stiffen up when that male came to greet them a little earlier before he pushed the tree over. All of those little things your brain is registering. He's got beautiful tusks, that male.
The video was down. I lived at Pipeline Junction with the Overbutt.
And off they go. That's amazing. I think that's the first time I've really had them drinking since I've been here. That bull's sticking close to that female. The lighting's so pretty on them now as well. It's so peaceful when they're calm and content, yes. But it's the opposite of peaceful when they're not calm and content. 9 times out of 10 elephants are going to be relaxed, but if something in their environment has stimulated them, oh, we're back on, and they are upset about it, then they're not calm and content. And then you just got to be a little bit, you got to give them the respect they deserve. There goes the last of the herd. I'm going to turn around now and see if we can catch up with the bulls that were behind us. Maybe they'll come and do the same thing. Stations. The herd of elephants has moved north from Lemmendoren Reservoir. I'm going to be leaving the area to 2 other stations. Look at the giraffe. Looks like a young male, I think. Maybe not. Tricky to tell from those ossicons. Could actually be a young female. There's an oxpecker sitting there as well. No, I can't. Yeah, young female who had an oxpecker beautifully behind her ossicones. Now she's moving. Let's carry her. There is another car here, so maybe they have got the bulls, the other two bulls. I mean, it might be. There's a few people on the car. Here they come. Have you put him on your side, Andrew? One of the younger two bulls here is also feeling very chill this afternoon. Look at him, his size in comparison to that Land Rover over there. He's not the biggest elephant bull, but when you put him in context, he's double the height of...
Having crossed under the Blowbank Western fence, just north of Biggest Westpad, to head straight into the block.
double the height of the Land Rover. Got distracted by the radio there.
How relaxed is it? Just practice, just practice. Copy.
He's feeding on the elephant's pudding. I think it's the cider cordifolia. I hope I'm not confusing my scientific names. The Cissus rotundifolia. I knew I was wrong. Good thing I made a note of it a while ago. Cissus rotundifolia is the elephant's pudding, but he's not eating that anymore. He's eating the magic guarri. That's actually the bush that they tell you can make a toothbrush from if you get stranded out here. So we need to examine this bull's teeth when he's done feeding, just to make sure that there's validity in using a magic guarri as a toothbrush. It is a ridiculous concept to use a piece of a branch to be able to make a toothbrush, but the tree just frays so beautifully that it kind of looks, once you've cut it off, and I'm sure somebody's done this on Live Drive before, but we can do it all together at some point. If you cut it in half and then you fray it, the bristles, it looks like bristles, and then if you use it cleverly, I'm sure it does help your teeth. Now I know this elephant, I don't know if you can, now because I want to talk to you about his eye, he's looking away. But I've seen elephants rub their eyes before with their trunk, and because there's actually quite a lot of dust on their bodies, when they rub their face, sometimes it can leave a little mark. I've also, because they might be feeding in different substrate, they'll just rub the different color of sand onto their face. But this male, I'd like to pay more attention. I'm not sure if any of you have, but I almost think it's the coloration of the skin, because it's often like that. Hello, hello. How are you all? Pardon? North, directly north from the reservoir. Pardon? Yeah, they were here, yeah. Yeah, but that is what it is, right? They're 3 bulls. Here. No, there's one with the herd. I'm just waiting. Anyway, I'm going to have to rely on those of you who've been here a little longer to tell me if I'm going crazy or if it's just a marking that he's got because he rubs his eyes frequently with his trunk. But if you look at that eye, it does really appear to always to have a slightly different skin coloration around it. Have you noticed that? Not yet. All right. It's been a fabulous early afternoon. But I think let's carry on as the evening cools down. Let's see if there's anything else out and about. I wonder where, never mind, I wonder not. I found the last bull in the thicket. Yes, he's a lot closer to us right now than this camera makes it seem. That's a much bigger bull on our right. So this is one of the younger ones. The one who was with the herd looked pretty big. Oh, there's rhinos crossing in front of us. Let's go see if we can get to those rhinos. I just don't know if they're black or white. There was one that just literally just crossed the road in front of us, maybe 200 or 300 meters up. So let's go. Maybe they were just drinking from Kudu Krip. We just missed them. It's all happening for us today. Well, I hope they haven't vanished now that we've left our ellies. But there was just this big grey shape that plodded gently across the road. Did you see it? No. Okay.
Left the sighting of the 2 elephant bulls, there's a couple of vehicles out there might be heading towards the Mondrian Reservoir circuit.
Now I've also left that sighting. I think there's one other station there. Could be black. Don't do that to me, Andrew. It would be very exciting. There. No, don't think it's a black rhino. I can see it though. It's not a black rhino. Now, the question is, maybe if we go on to bushveld. Yeah, here you go. This is cool. white rhino bull.
Galas are here at both camps, near the waterhole, but west of it. I copy that from very close, about about 5 minutes now.
Oh, sorry, even me. It's a shaky engine control there. I did give him a little bit of a fright. That's my bad. He looks like one of the dominant bulls. He's sniffing around. Now, I haven't been able to have a look at his notch number, but this is so cool. Can you believe, you know, you're 5 seconds from a herd of elephants and you find a large rhino bull? Try to put us like this. 1, 2, 3. Hello. You're coming this way. Right towards us. Oh, you're very close now. Let's give you a little bit of space, see if you come back towards us again, or if you just want to figure out what we are. Okay, I've seen you. It's coming very close and I don't have that much space to go back. I just want to give him a little bit of space so that he doesn't... that's enough.
Relocated the herd as you feeding just along the one you're in.
Can I come back? Keep coming. Let's just see what he does. I'm not too worried about him, but he does seem quite curious in us this afternoon. Come on, dude. We all have comfort zones. He looks like he wants to... Well, he's kind of got the picture now. I was saying he looked like he wanted to lick our bonnet, like we had something tasty on our bull bar. He's carrying on now. Okay, but I did get a nice look at his ear notches. So let's have a look at those and figure out quickly who he is. He is, he had, I think he could be 13. I might have to have another look. But that's very cool. I mean, the nice thing about a rhino is that even though they show a lot of interest in you, it doesn't feel quite like an elephant when they show interest in you. It was actually quite cute of him. He just looked curious. He wasn't worried about us. I wasn't really worried about him, but what you want is to be able to give them space. So with an elephant, generally, actually, you want to kind of hold your ground because you don't want them to learn that they can push you around. Elephants are quite clever. They learn quite quickly. Look at him scent marking. He's scraping the ground, spraying urine, claiming this as his own territory. Stations, there's a white rhino bull bosvark just to the south of Pomppad Road. He's slowly mobile south. Oxpeck has just landed on his back. You can just see the beautiful red bull of the red-billed oxpecker. Everything's just in our favor this afternoon. Beautiful, looking for elephants, and then somebody finds them, and then they get a nice drink, and you leave the elephants because you've seen something else. I did have like this little twinge of hope that maybe it was going to be a black rhino, but I mean, I can scarcely complain. Look at what an awesome sighting we're having now with this rhino. Good. It's one of the bulls who actually doesn't have a collar on his front leg. But oh, looks like he's digging a little bit, using his horn and his muzzle to move sand away. Interestingly, I mean, they are strictly grazers, white rhino, but lately I've had 2 different instances where they've done what this white rhino just did, investigate a fallen over tree or some bark and actually try it. I don't think that they feed on it and swallow it necessarily, but when nutrients are tricky to come by because the grass is so dry, and when when trees that have been pushed over seem accessible, it doesn't surprise me that they show a bit of interest and fascination, but that's not what their digestive systems are designed to be able to process. As grazers, they are designed to be able to process grass. Isn't that a cute African booty? I love their feet. Watch those feet as they move down the road. You can see perfectly as it lifts at the 3 toes. And I'm telling you, you can hardly hear him move, except when he scrapes like that, then you can hear.
I'm leaving lions open lock. They are still lying down west of the creek. You won't miss them. Okay, I'm 4 minutes out.
So they do that, they stiffen their legs to break the ground, and that way the ground can absorb so much more of their scent.
Number 5, I think. Number 6.
To break the ground. Whoopsie, I'm talking to all of you. Mary, the bum of the day. He was a little cheeky white rhino. That's very cool. Let's follow him a little bit longer, see if we can see a little bit more of him. I'm hoping he takes us to one of his middens, and then he does a nice midden marking for us, because that's always quite entertaining. It's not quite the same as, well, it's a little bit different to their spraying of urine when they're marking. Their middens are hysterical and very clever, and just a great communication tool for white rhinos and black rhinos actually. Both rhino species use middens as territorial markers. Is he coming up to one now? He might very well be. Let's just position in case. Yeah, he's showing a bit of interest. Pardon? Okay. So he did show a little bit of interest, but he just carried on. It doesn't look like an overly active midden. When we go past, I'll be able to have a look. Black and white rhinos generally will use similar or the same middens, but only the dominant bull of each species will kick. Something's moving to the left of us. I think it's an impala. That's cool. Only the dominant males will kick their feces within their territory in the middens. Everybody else is allowed to, in fact, is encouraged to defecate within the same midden and around the same midden, but they are not allowed to kick. Kicking is reserved only for the dominant bull of the area. And the function of the kicking is firstly to indicate to others that, okay, this area is maintained by a dominant bull who means business. But secondly, when he kicks, he gets his scent, his feces, in between his toes. And so as he, like squished in between his toes, and so as he traipses through his territory, he's leaving a more distinct smell throughout his territory. And so even when other males are not at his midden sites, they can still get an indication, okay, this is definitely an area where I don't want to challenge the dominant bull. Or they smell his scent and they think to themselves, actually, I can take this guy. And if they think I can take this guy, then they'll defecate in the same midden and they'll kick their feces, and that's effectively just laying down a challenge, saying, you know what, I reckon I can beat you, let's fight. This is a lazy territorial patrol. He's quite relaxed. His nose is to the ground and he's sniffing, but it's not a fast-paced, huffing, scent marking all over the place, which is what you'll often see if a male believes there's an intruding competitive male within his territory. He'll walk a bit faster. His nose will be even more glued to the ground. He'll move a bit quicker than this. This is just a maintenance patrol. Hi, Jennifer. I feel very satisfied with our large pachyderms this afternoon. Cubby, I'm still here, Kevin. He's continuing south on Bushveld, now midway between Pompat and Dyker Road.
Okay, so Bushveld and Dyker.
On Bushveld, but north of the junction with Dyker Road.
Okay, copy it, I'm heading there now.
There's a lot of
I'm on the log of this side here by Bushcamp.
he just
Down to the western side.
kicked that dung like a soccer ball. But there's a lot of rhino dung along this road. None of it seems to be of particular interest to him. It hasn't prompted him to try and cover up the scent with his own smell. What have you heard? Not sure. They were impala. Oh, he has picked up something. The smell of something's a little bit interesting. Let's see what he does now. Nope, not interesting enough. He's just figuring it out, you know. Could also be females in this area that he just wants to ascertain. Are you receptive? Are you ready for me? Are you not? What's going on? Okay, he's spraying again. He's making sure that this road is within his, very much secured. It's part of his territory. I can't believe how interested he was in the car. I mean, we're perfect rhino height. So I don't blame him. I don't know if it's possible for Andrew to zoom in. It's not going to be that pretty, but just beneath his tail around the anus area, maybe I'll get a little closer. Were you happy here? No, this is fine. So in those, the discoloration, they look like cuts. Those are actually, those two areas, they are caked with ticks. Now they look like rhino ticks. I've only had a very brief look with my binoculars, but he has actually been holding his tail off to the right the whole time we've been following him, just ever so slightly. He's not letting it drop entirely, and he's holding it off to the right. And now, having a look with binoculars, there seem to be two cuts in there that have become completely taken over by ticks. So it's an area that he'll be quite comfortable letting the oxpeckers get into if he gets half the chance. Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Andrew. They almost look like sutures, but they're not. They're ticks. I'm going to let Kevin come past me. We've had an amazing sighting, so we can share him a little bit. Sorry, Andrew. You good? Yeah, I'm just making sure that he's got all of his cat skills. You enjoy him. What was that? No, we might follow, but we're not gonna. We've had a great sighting, so go ahead. What do you say, Andrew? Do you think we should follow him, or do you think we should go somewhere else?
I'm easy.
Yeah, you are. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get you out the bush.
Thank you.
There you go. Just giving Andrew some extra gym. It wasn't intentional. I didn't mean to drive him into a thicket. Some days maybe I mean to, but today I certainly didn't mean to. This is quite a thick area, and he's continuing down the road, and we've had such an epic sighting of him. I'm actually going to leave him. I'm going to turn around. I think we're on a winning wicket. So we've seen just an amazing amount of things on our safari this afternoon. We've only been out for an hour. So let's see if there's anything, an hour and 10 minutes. See if there's anything else that we can find. Well, the luck is all on our side. Pardon? Let's go find a leopard, says Andrew. I mean, I'm down. I think we should definitely try and find a leopard. Then we're going to backtrack a little bit and we'll go to Kudu Krip. A few nights ago, Kudu Krip 2-3 was seen at Kudu Krip, which is convenient considering her name. I still haven't seen a leopard on Rietspruit. I'm still desperate to see a leopard on the Rietspruit Game Reserve, but it will happen when it happens, which might not be today, but maybe it will be. I would love it if we could get that right. Also, in this area, we could keep an eye out for our wildebeest. A lot of them were seen, actually a lot of them were seen together this morning. Somebody put a video on our sightings group. It could have been more than 20 of them. I wasn't looking too closely because we were also burning fires, but there were...
Leaving the rhino bull is now heading off to the west, to the bush towards...
That rhino's just gone off to the bush. Oopsie. I've also left that animal. All right, so the beast scene is really encouraging because 3 or 4 nights ago the lions decided they were going to, no, it was a bit more than that, maybe a week ago, the lions decided they were going to eat 3 of them. So it was nice to see somebody had seen a large grouping of them all together. And that brings me, quite a nice moment, brings me to our keyword. So if you are a pack member, if you belong to the pack, then you are eligible to get a copy of the image that's on screen, a full resolution copy of the image that's on screen of the wildebeest coming out of the crates on the day that they were moved into our, look at that, into Rietspruit. And you just have to email freedom to info@paintedog.tv and we will send you a copy of that in high resolution. Okay, so we have, I'm struggling to see exactly what we've got here. It looks, yeah, it does look like a gossip. I saw there's some barring on the tail, but it's very silhouetted. It does look like a chanting goshawk. And I don't know if you noticed there, but there were some small bird species that were dive bombing it as well. Of course, I've actually seen birds like this. In fact, Gareth saw it the other day. I can't remember exactly which little accipiter he saw, but he was sitting at the desk and he just saw, he saw a little sparrowhawk. He's in my ear. Gareth's in FC this evening. And he watched it kill one of the small, tiny little birds. I think it was like an apellis or a marico, that's what it was. Flycatcher. I'm really not winning with him this afternoon. But so he watched a kill from his office. They're giggling at me because I just can't remember any of these things. That's what happens when you're tired. Your words get all jumbled up like spaghetti in your brain, and you know what you're supposed to say, but you say the other things. Let's watch as it takes off. That's definitely a dark chanting goshawk. Look at that. Let's see if he does take off. Nope. It's not flying. I love how beautifully silhouetted it is. There's so much orange behind him there. I was hoping he was going to fly for us, but it really doesn't look like he's going to do that.
Yes, second very last update for Lowveld.
Let's leave him. Leave him before my tongue gets even more tired and I completely embarrass myself. Nice. There's actually a good little population of dark chanting goshawks. I've seen a number of them since we've moved to the Rietspruit, as well as black-chested snake eagles, which is fantastic. All these birds that, well, dark chanting goshawks we did used to see, but we didn't see so many of. Well, should we check the? I'm in two minds about everything. I think we'll check Kudu Krip to see if there's any signs of tracks, or perhaps even more than tracks of Kudu Krip. And then we'll do a little loop and go up and then come back down and see if there's anything around. Oh, Andrew, I don't know, can you get that moon on? Can you? Back. Yeah. The moon is looking stunning this evening. Looks like we're a day or two away from, one day away from full moon. I love it when it's like this. So tomorrow afternoon, if you're on drive with Gareth and Marine, if you've bought your ticket for that drive, they might treat you to a moonrise, because tomorrow should be full moon. It's not dark enough now for this one. No, this is stunning. I think this looks amazing. Actually, from Andrew's shot there, you can have a look at the bottom. If you pretended that there were corners on a circle, you'd be looking at the bottom left-hand corner. And you can see that compared to the rest of the moon, it just looks a little bit more hazy. That is the part that will be completely complete tomorrow. And then we will have a full moon. So this is actually going to be a tricky time of the month for animals like our nocturnal predators. Specifically, I'm thinking about leopards at the moment, because they don't have the cover of darkness like they do when it's a new moon or a crescent moon. The fuller the moon gets, the more challenging it becomes for nocturnal predators to make successful hunts after dark, because all of their prey species are that much more able to see once the sun is set. And obviously a nocturnal animal relies on the fact that its eyesight really comes into its own once the sun has set. So The prey species to have a full moon because they can see what might be lurking in the grass or in the shrubs around them. Let's poke our nose into this crypt. If any of everybody's all quiet this evening, just taking in the evening. Oh, there's a duiker dashing off. Okay. What's that?
Pump.
Oh, it's the pump. I was like, what am I hearing? It's lovely to see these crypts all full again after Lady Dentine decided to uproot the pump system. But this is great. The night that they started filling up there, Andrew said they saw about 17 duikers around this crypt. So they were all waiting for this to be full, and I'm sure they're very happy with the fact that it is full. Look at the wall of the crypt there. You can see where there's little bits and splashes along the wall. That's probably, in fact, definitely where animals have come to drink, and then the water's caught on the hair on their chin or on their mouths, and as they've come up, they've wet the wall. So you can see lots of different animals have been drinking here in the last couple of hours. It's been a warm enough day that anything more than a couple of hours would already have dried up. So good to see that it's in use. Of course it's in use. It's one of the very few water sources at the moment. Mm-hmm. It's amazing how the days are just getting longer and longer as we get into summer now. We were, by this time when I started at Painted Dog TV, we were already using our spotlight. So day length is increasing, and I love it. It's so incredible to have long, full, warm days. Especially when you know that this hour is the best hour for predators on the move. It's actually a fantastic time of day because if you're trying to watch wild dogs or cheetahs, they're still active in this time, in the twilight period. And if you're looking for leopards and lions, they're also active in this time. So there's a little bit of an overlap just before sunset, where the activity of diurnal and nocturnal animals they're both quite high. So it's just the best time of the day. I mean, technically wild dogs are crepuscular, so you wouldn't really call them, they're more diurnal than nocturnal, they're almost not nocturnal at all. I have watched wild dogs hunting by moonlight. They weren't successful, but they were hunting by moonlight. But generally speaking, you're going to get wild dogs that are active in the first couple of hours of day and the very last few hours of the day. And then obviously cheetah can use any time of the day, but they also struggle to regulate their temperature. So if they make a kill in summer in the middle of the day, they're going to have to make the kill, retreat, catch their breath, cool their core body temperature down, and only then will they feed. So there is a little risk involved there in the fact that they could lose their kill, but everything else is also hiding from the heat at that time. So they are uniquely modified to be able to make the most of their situation. What is that? Are those squirrels? Are they mating in the tree right over here on the left-hand side. I think we have interrupted an intimate moment for these two squirrels. Nope, maybe not. The one at the back is not where I thought he was, so that's no matter. They are watching us. Oh. They're like a little statue. Like somebody's just put it here for us to marvel at. But that's not the case. There you go, you moved his head. Sounds like the lions have been found around Boskamp. We are not near Boskamp at the moment. But good to know that they're around. Around and of course sleeping. So these tree squirrels are quite common out here, but very different to the squirrels that you might be more familiar with in Europe or in America. The red and the grey squirrels with the big bushy tails. These ones kind of look a little bit more like rats than squirrels. But when you get used to them... go ahead. I only got a partial transmission, but if you suggest I make my way, I can do so.
Okay. That's very nice. I'm quickly going to move into the bank area.
Copy. I'm around Kudu Krip, so I'll make my way. Alrighty. Well, a message from Brent is that it looks like the lions are going to head on to the burnt area, which will actually be quite cool cinematically. They're still lying down, but their heads are up and they're starting to groom, and they are at Boskamp, which is where we burnt. So he's just saying, if you're in a position to get into this area, then come. So who am I to disagree with in order to go and see lions? I think that will be fun. Don't worry, Andrew, I've driven you into enough bushes today. I'll be more careful.
I know for Kevin.
Imagine lions on the burn, the moon rising. Oh, I have fantasies of it being a fantastic afternoon. I wasn't going to go there. It sounds...
Just left one person or lot there, but we'll be back in about 10 minutes.
I wasn't going to go because it's quite far, but it sounds like it's worth it. So let's head on for the last half an hour of drive. Maybe if we get there in 10, 15 minutes, we'll be able to enjoy a little lion sighting. Straight over, Andrew, yeah. Just picking up the pace, everybody, so hold on. Feel the wind in your hair. If you need to switch the fan on, you should do that. Give you a full virtual experience with the fan blowing through your hair. Even better if you're on a rocking chair and it can bounce up and down, because that's what I'm doing to Andrew on the back. This is my way. It's this way. On one hand, I'm so grateful, in fact on every hand, I'm so grateful for Gareth's map that he's designed. It makes life very helpful. But it also makes me a little bit lazy because it does such a great job that I know exactly where I am all the time just by casting my eyes down. But then when you want to get somewhere quickly, you second guess yourself because you can't check it so perhaps I should wean myself off the map now that I've been here more than a month. But it's a process. Hold on. This is quite a bumpy road, I know this road. Up and down, we had great leopard tracks on a Zoom drive, not this recent Tuesday morning, yes, not yesterday, the week before. We had good leopard tracks in this area. Now, these fires that we might, or the burnt area that we might see is going to look quite stark and contrasting compared to the rest of the bush that you're seeing. But it really is so necessary for the rejuvenation of the landscape. What happens is, I think Brent has explained it. Which of these is going to be quicker? This one. I think he explained it on Monday afternoon, but what's necessary, if certain plants are only going to germinate in fire or once they've been burnt, which obviously we want the diversity of plant species, but almost more importantly is that there are species like bush willows and sickle bush and other what we call natural encroachment species, and they tend to monopolize an area, and then that becomes the dominant species in the area, and then it takes a lot of hard work to restore it to a more open savanna landscape with a bit more grassy patches. In this part of southern Africa, we're not looking for big open Serengeti landscapes because that's not natural. We're looking for grass and woodland savanna, so it's more patchy, and and a good fire can really help. Elephants also really help just maintain the landscape. But fire is such a naturally occurring thing that if we didn't burn fire, and a lightning storm around this time of the year could start a wildfire, and then it's just that much more dangerous because you have no control over it. You don't control where it starts, you don't control what day it starts on, so you don't know the climatic conditions, and understanding the climatic conditions is really important to be able to control the fire. Today, our biggest helper in the process was the wind, and knowing which direction it was coming from, how fast it was blowing, where it was pushing. If there was no control over that, and lightning there was a lightning strike, and we had a situation where it was just wild. Where am I going? That's through. Okay. Brent, I'm also going to be responding to the Pride. Just confirm what the best approach is now on Boskamp Verbypad Wes. Ooh. I'm on channel 2. Brent, I'm also responding to the Pride. I'm on Boskamp Verbypad Wes. What is the best approach there now?
Just decoupling when I see you on that basis.
Okay, we'll go Andrew's way, but it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It's a big circle. Should pop out on the airstrip now. Very kind of Brent to say that he'll give us his space, but he did also tell us to come here, so. You can smell the fire. You can definitely smell the fire. It's happening. Now,
We couldn't really hear you too well. Now across the airstrip, we must have got.
just listening, 1 second, so that it...
the board camp on site or in front of board camp?
In front of board camp, storm in the front.
Yeah, it's not clear. Must I go to board camp or must I go around board camp?
I was struggling to hear Brent. So what I completely have been thinking a lot and long and hard about how to describe to people what it's like to burn a fire break, or burn any, actually today we didn't burn a fire break, today we burned a fire. And one of the things that I felt so acutely today, and I've done lots of fires, Gareth has done even more than me, so we do spend a lot of time on fires, is that it feels like you are, especially for your eyes. For me, my eyes take the most strain. Some people struggle with their lungs, with their, breathing and all of that, but for me, it's really my eyes that take strain. And it feels like cutting really hot onions. So it's like a really, really bad, those onions that when you're cutting them, it's really very intense. And then make that warm. And then you have the perfect combination of what it feels like to be driving through a fire. And your tears run down your face and your eyes get all murky and you think it's the smoke, but really it's just the tears trying to lubricate your eyes because there's so much smoke. But Andrew says at least we did good deeds, and he's not wrong. We rescued a monitor lizard today. Hi. Now that is one of the Rhino Revolution guys looking for his 2 rhinos that broke out of the boma. They've actually been doing great. They're making great progress. Their feeds are still supplemented, but they were ready to be wild, those 2 rhinos. The boma was not for them. Okay. Any moment now there should be lions. Wow, if we get these lions, we'll have had 3 of the big 5 in one afternoon, which is pretty nice, especially since we don't get buffalo here. 3 out of 4 is not too shabby. It would be even more cool if we found them. But I drove here this morning because I thought there was a bit of smoke, and so I just wanted to check that the camp was fine. And so in driving here, I did this loop and there was no sign of any lions this morning. So, I mean, I could have missed them, but I think they've moved into this area during the day, especially since we heard them roaring quite close to camp this morning. Just gonna let Kevin park in position, and then I'll come through. Oh, nope, come now. Okay. Oh, they are majestic. Just in time for the male to stand up. Like good. Do you want to be in that gap between them? Hi. Look how pretty they all are. I can see, okay, all 5 lionesses. At first I thought I could only see 3. Just behind the male who's phlegm grimacing right now. You can see a female lying in the back. He's probably just testing the urine of one of these females, figuring out whether they're receptive or not to breeding, or who urinated here, or he's trying to ascertain different elements from the from his species. The phlegm grimace is specifically designed to tell animals things about their own species. Look how pretty she is. They look like they have had something to eat since we last saw them yeah, so since we last saw them yesterday morning, they were hungry and they were hunting anything they could find, including banded mongoose, which is hardly a snack. But now they look like they've filled their bellies with something small. Ah, the lighting on her eyes is amazing.
So I kept my radio when I went to my meeting at Papa. Because I had a feeling. I was like, if something does go, I've on the back so I can come to Clyde back so I can read up quickly. Blue Canyon is harassing. And Rio.
Carol, that's super interesting. Carol says there was a bad fire at Satara. You think it's because of someone using a braai?
The local farm in Lowveld,
That's...
east of Lemondering.
I haven't heard of it just yet, Carol, but Satara burns all the time. Last year they had a fire that burnt the size of 3 malas, which is 33,000 acres, so maybe 100,000 acres they burnt around Satara last year. And that was uncontrolled as well. I had friends who sent me videos who they were going to their workplace, which is near Satara, in the Kruger Park, and the flames were higher than their vehicles, the car vehicles. And that's a closed car. It's not, a game viewer like this little jackal that we're in. So Satara seems to be very susceptible to fires. These ladies are up and looking around. Be interesting to see if they head on to the burns and maybe have a look around. A new injury. Let's get ahead of them. Smile and wave. We really need to get Ali a proper painted dog hat. No, just joking. We like the Wildscapes one as well. It's not cool to match with your partner. She doesn't want to be matchy with Brent. No, I'm joking. Gareth and I match all the time. If I could coordinate our wardrobes to be matchy, I would, but that's pretty cringe. You know what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to loop around onto the road and I'm going to try and get them coming towards us and then onto the burn, which is going to be great. Ja, on the Boskamp verbypad Oos. Hoofpad Junction. I think they're coming that way. We'll just sit and be patient, although it is actually quite deep into the block. Maybe they're coming. Well, they should be coming in this direction. They are moving quite quickly. And they've all reunited. Andrew said he saw another scar on Kinky Tail. So we'll see, is that worth trying to... You can see now the burnt area is in front of us. There are still some flames, which are worth checking out. While we look at the burn and the mountain, I'm just going to keep an eye out for these lions. You can hear the cicadas. They are back. They could use this game trail. All depends. I'm excited to see them on the fire. Great. Shall I go in? You stay right here. Those ladies and gentlemen, are young people eyes. How incredible is Andrew's vision that he could spot them moving through the thicket there. Ellie's rhinos and good-looking lions. Christine, we have done well today. It's been very good going. Thank you for your vote of confidence. Oh no. I thought they lay down there, but they haven't. They're still moving this way. You have got them perfectly in focus. We've got them.
I'm trying to wait position.
Yeah, I think they're going to come out a little bit further east. Yeah.
Come out down the old path.
Yeah. I'm also going to go a little bit further. Their angle's not towards us. I thought they could use this game trail that's in front of us. Let's get them moving through this more open area, and then we'll go and position. Andrew's been showing us some incredible pictures he's taken of lions, cheetahs, giraffe, everything on one specific road with the mountains in the background. And this is the road that they're coming towards, so it's going to be a little bit dark for photo taking, but it's amazing to watch a picture come together when you know that they're coming in your direction. I'm going to pull off. Oh wow. I'm going to go to where Brent is and park there so that if they come, you good, or do you want to stay here? Let's stay here. Where that fallen over tree is where they're going to come out. I can see them. And then they're going to go on to the burnt stuff. Here comes the lead lioness. Scent marking as she goes. How big they are, how muscular those chests are. Oh, the colour on their eyes. Amazing. She's seen something. This is incredible. All of them are moving past us now. Comes the last lioness. Hey, this is Bucket. Bringing up the rear, bless you. You can see little smouldering bits of fire. This is so cool. Here come the males, deviating, of course, from the path. Oh, wow, Andrew, look at that. She's investigating what happened here this afternoon. Amazing. Kevin's being cheeky. He says he took a better shot with his phone. Good for him. Here comes the males now. Do you want to light? also going to come past the car now. We can see if there's more injuries. He's got a bit of blood around his mouth. But he's so full, I think they've been scrapping over a kill. Other male is still up in the distance, sniffing something. It's actually around the same area that that lioness was scent marking. I'm happy to carry on with the bulk of them if you are. That male will catch up. Oh, will you look at that? I'm going to go around onto Snail Lane and see if we can get them.
Well, at least now you can cut the block.
Yeah, we can absolutely cut the block these days. There's very little in our way. I feel intimately acquainted with this block of land after all the burning and racing and checking. And my job today was as the sweeper. And what the sweeper does is the sweeper drives the roads around where the fire's already burned, just to make sure no sneaky bits of fire have jumped into areas that they're not supposed to be in. And so you end up encircling the same area a gazillion times. So I now know exactly where I can nip through this block. Oh, it's so pretty. I don't know.
Sammy coming? I'm here in the corridor.
Yeah.
Copy. I'm on off part coming out. Copy. Lines are now moving past the Boma.
Okay. They're moving past the Boma. I think they're still on Hoofpad. I wonder if we should go in here somewhere. Next one. Maybe it's a bit too far. I'll go in here. Kevin, are the burns zoned for off-roading, or can I cross through in a safe area? I didn't hear him.
You can drive through. I've got my toilets about as sterile as it gets at the moment, so when it's growing.
Copy. Makes a good point. So right now it's fine to cross through the burns, but in a week's time when there's fresh growth, you want to be really careful with how you manage the new vegetation. You want to give it the best chance of survival. So right now it's very sterile and there's no life within it. But once the rains have fallen and the new shoots are coming through, you want to be really, really careful, because you don't want to, I just want to get ahead of these lions. They're coming quicker than I thought. Hold on, Andrew. I asked Kevin. Kevin said it's sterile. Gareth's in my ear about off-roading on the burns. It's beautiful off-roading here now. It is beautiful off-roading here now. Thanks, G. You've done a great job. Everybody who burnt this fire has done a fantastic job. This is such fun. It's so fun when you can first you hear and it's thick, and then you burn it, and then you get an amazing sighting like this through. It's just fantastic. These lionesses are going to treat us this evening. They're going to share oxygen with Andrew. These girls heading in this direction. This is as close to a lion's version of arm in arm as you can get. They were very close. Look at all the embers, not ambers, all the embers behind these lions. Males are still coming. Just gonna try and get off the road a little bit more. I want these males to come towards us, but I don't want to deviate from their path, so
Visit us in camp today.
it does look like they're heading directly for camp. So we're definitely going to have some visitors. Yeah, it's definitely got a bit of a limp at the moment. Not a very significant one though. Nothing he can't shake off. Ooh, you've definitely been in a scuff. Ouch, his eye looks sore. Somebody gave him a nice little snack. Now they are looking particularly full, so I think a lot of this has been over carcass and possibly a kill. Feeding is always going to make lions aggressive, but also there seems to be a heightened sense of aggression between the male lions at the moment, between one another. And we're not sure if it's because near Leti, maybe the one lioness is not completely sterilized. It's unknown as to whether she could potentially be coming back into estrus. That would drive the tension up between the males. Or they've been spending a lot of time on the fence with females who look to be flirting with them. And so that could also just provoke testosterone surge, because they're feeling like, oh, maybe we're going to mate, maybe we're going to breed, and I want to be the one who gets to do that. So even though it's very much they are one team and they'll keep each other's cubs alive, they want to be the ones who sire them. It's all competitive out here. But with what an incredibly amazing walk by. I mean, that was fantastic. Hello, Mel. Nice to see you in the chat. Shirley Nut. Shirley. Whoops, I know your name. I think we're probably gonna let them carry on down the road, but just quickly, I don't know if Andrew can get the scene. I'm gonna park right here. Look at how, oh, listen. There's a long distance line calling. I don't know if you can see, but it looks like city lights. All of the embers burning in the grass, with the stunning sunset in the backdrop of the northern Drakensberg Mountains. What more can you ask for? Everybody, it's been so much fun to be out with you this evening. We wish you the best Wednesday day or night or evening or where you are in the world. And we'll see you tomorrow evening if you've bought tickets for Marine's Leopard Drive, or Friday evening if you haven't. Bye.